Hello, this is Rick Hebron again, teaching Hebrew. We are using materials from the Mayim materials. There's the Mayim primer, which is the textbook, and there's the Mayim supplement, which is the answer book, and it's got various explanations of things. There's also a disc where I basically read the book, and you can learn the pronunciation of words. I also strongly encourage you to use Pimsleur Hebrew. I bought this at Amazon.com for between $30 and $40, and it teaches you to speak and listen. You don't read and write in this course, and I think it's great. It teaches Hebrew far better than I ever could. You can learn from it every day. So far we have learned Gimel. These are the letters that we've learned. Gimel, which is G. We've learned Lamed. We've learned Dalet. We've learned Bet. We learned Vet, which is Bet without the dot. And we've learned Aleph. We've learned 4 vowels. We've learned the Patach, which goes A. It goes under a letter. We'll pretend that this is a letter. We've learned the Kametz, which also goes A. It might be a little longer of an A. We've learned the Shava, which is 2 dots vertically, which shows that there is no vowel. One consonant just goes right into the next consonant. Like in Gal Gal, the L and the G bump together, Gal Gal. And we've learned the Segol, which is 3 dots, which goes E. Those are the vowels that we've learned. So, why don't we warm up a little bit? You should practice reading. And we'll read a little bit from last week's lesson. I find that goes a little bit better. So if we turn to page 8, in the top part of the page there are 5 sentences. You can practice reading them and be patient with yourself. You can stop the recording. You can practice reading. It's like being in 1st grade where you're sounding out letters and trying to make a word. And I will read these, and I'll read them faster than you will be able to. But practice it. It'll come to you. It'll be great. The first one, Abba, Ba. Abba, Ba. The second, Dag, Bagal. Dag, Bagal. The third, Gal, Ba. Gal, Ba. The fourth, Abba, Bagal. Abba, Bagal. And you note that this means Daddy is in the wave. Maybe Daddy is body surfing. Dag, Ba, El, Abba. Dag, Ba, El, Abba. So continue to practice reading Hebrew aloud to yourself and be patient with yourself. It'll be good. Let's begin with lesson 9 now. We'll learn the letter Hey, which in the script looks a little bit like a haystack. There's our Hey that's in the script. The block Hey has the same 2 strokes, but it's squared off. And it's left open. It can have the sound of H, it can go, or it can be silent. A nice name with the letter He in it would be Leah, Lamed, Aleph, He, Leah. Rachel's sister in the book of Genesis, Leah, beautiful word. Write it a couple times, practice it. Leah, write it, say it. Talking to yourself is good. Leah. Beautiful, beautiful. And then it means Leah. Then the word that means comes, feminine, would be Ba'a. Ba'a, comes, feminine. Ba'a, write it, say it, Ba'a. And you can put them together and make a nice sentence. Our first real Hebrew sentence, Le'ah, Ba'a. Le'ah, Ba'a. When I introduced the Aleph to you, I mentioned to you that historically it was a glottal stop, like if you were to say, uh-oh. This sentence, we can demonstrate the glottal stop of Aleph. We could say Le'ah, Ba'a. Le'ah, Ba'a. That's the historic pronunciation of Aleph. But on the streets of Tel Aviv today, Israelis are going to be without the glottal stop. They'll say Le'ah, Ba'a. Le'ah, Ba'a. Next we'll learn how to say the in Hebrew. To say the, we add a prefix to a word. We put ha, and then we put the word. It hooks onto the word. Like if we were to say flag, degel, to make it definite, to say the flag, we just put ha in front of it. To say wave is gal, wave is gal, the wave, add a he in front of it, hagal, the wave. Bad is cloth, bad is cloth. If we add ha in front, the cloth. Next, we'll learn the letter Zayin. Zayin, in the script, looks like the right side of an apple, including the stem. And the block Zayin is 2 strokes. The top stroke is short, and then a vertical stroke. The sound of the Zayin is Z. The Zayin goes Z. So, the first letter that we learned in lesson 1 is kind of like a side of an apple too, but the letter Gimel, which we were learning then, would be the left side of an apple. And most Israelis are going to do them without a loop. The book has a loop. It's better without the loop, in my opinion. So how are you going to keep straight which of these it is? You don't want to mix the Gimel and the Zayin. That doesn't work. Well, with the Gimel represents the English letter G, and the G goes around like this, kind of like the Gimel does. The Gimel has the same basic thrust. The Zayin has a stroke like this. Remember the character Zorro? Zorro. The thing that makes this a Z is that stroke right there. If it went the other way, it's not a Z anymore. So the Zayin has this stroke just like the Z does. So don't turn your Gimel and your Zayin around. What will we do with the Zayin? Let's learn a couple of words that use it. The word for this is Ze. Ze. And the word for gold is Zahav. Zahav. Try it. Write it. Say it. Ze. Zahav. That's a sentence. This is gold. Ze Zahav. Ze Zahav. In English we say this is gold. In Hebrew, if we're going to say is, we usually just leave it out in the present tense. We don't need it. If somebody says this gold, an Israeli is going to think, aha, he means this is gold. We can just leave it out. It's simple. It's understood. At the bottom of page 9, let's learn another vowel that's going to have the sound of O. And it will have two parts. A vertical line and a dot. And it has a sound of O. The vertical line is called a Vav, and the dot is called a Cholim. We'll go into that more later. For now, this is just going to be O. We can say the word for uncle, which is Dod. Dod is uncle. And aunt, or aunt if you prefer, would be Doda. Doda. Write it, practice it. Dod. Dod. Doda. Aunt. Doda. Dod, Doda. Uncle and aunt. At the top of page 10, we'll learn some words. We'll learn to say them, but we don't have the letters to write them in Hebrew yet. I would be ani. Ani. You, masculine, ata. Ata. You, feminine, at. At. And what? Ma. Ma. This week you'll want to do your homework so that you'll be able to be prepared for next week, because we do have more letters coming. On page 11, the first part go from Hebrew to English, and then go from Hebrew to Hebrew. In other words, it's written in script, beautiful script. Try and copy that beautiful script, but without loops in the gimels and zayins. And you don't have to have quite as long of a tail on your lamed, but it's beautiful. Copy it, develop a beautiful writing style. Page 12, translate from Hebrew to English. And at the bottom, translate from English to Hebrew. On page 14, Hebrew to English. And at the bottom of the page, do matching. And keep working through Pimsleur Hebrew. You can do it while you're walking, you can do it while you're gardening, puttering around the house, doing different things. It'll help you learn the language fast. Thank you. I would like to call your attention to some things on page 10 that you might not understand. Towards the middle of the page, there is the word gedolah. Gedolah means large or big, and it's feminine. And down towards the bottom of the page is the word lo. Lo. And this is a vowel. This little dot here is a vowel that goes O. Just like this dot here goes O. Here it is without the stick holding it up. Lo means no. And dove, again with this dot. Dove is a man's name. It can be a man's name. It also happens to mean bear, as in the animal. That ends the addendum. Now we'll move on to chapter 5.